This is OUTrageIOUSity ONE. There's a word called venture business. People who use that word are evil, dishonest, and foolish. And I'm speaking carefully there. That's the comment. All the people using the word venture business. That's not what built Silicon Valley. No venture businesses were involved in building Silicon Valley. None. Zero. Weird, you think? You've been polluted by a power grab in universities, particularly American universities, but also European universities, where the richer business schools have overpowered the engineering departments to capture the idea of entrepreneurship and venturing. But it wasn't business ventures that created Silicon Valley at all. In fact, the faculty at business schools and the students who go to business schools are the opposite of what built Silicon Valley. But the power grab is going on, so your mind is being deliberately tilted in dishonest, evil, and incompetent ways by the people doing the power grab. The business schools want to take credit after the fact for something they didn't touch. They had no hand in building. In fact, Silicon Valley was built by the opposite of business faculty and the kind of students who go to business school. It was built by the opposite of them. And Silicon Valley was built in California, not in Massachusetts, not around MIT and Harvard. MIT and Harvard are a sickness that the people in Silicon Valley overcame. It's embarrassing to MIT and Harvard, so they still tell lies about it. But they did the opposite of build Silicon Valley. How many physics PhDs, nuclear engineers from MIT do you know are now on Wall Street? See what I mean? See what I mean? I have this elite, great education. What am I going to do with it? Serve anybody other than me? Oh no, I'm going to Wall Street and make a fortune. Buy a cocaine addiction or two for my kids. Plus a treatment program in the back pages of the New Yorker. The East Coast. The opposite of that is what built Silicon Valley. So not venture businesses. In fact, you know this because you go to a business school. I was at a business school last night. That's why I'm putting this tape up today. You go to a business school and you quickly find student teams reporting a new shoe company as a venture business. Well, it is a venture business, but it's not what built Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley was not built by 20,000 new shoe stores. Some of you may not realize that. If you went to a famous business school, you probably don't realize that. And it was the opposite of you, a business MBA, that built Silicon Valley. Not venture businesses. Not business ventures. That's the power grab word that the business schools have generated to steal what happened and to take credit for it when they had no hand in it, zero hand in it. It was the opposite of them that built Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley had two phases. It had the Fairchild Foundation, but that was not historically very powerful and unique. And wouldn't have impressed anybody if that's all they'd done. We wouldn't be talking about it. It was phase two that made Silicon Valley change the world in history. What was phase two? Was it the world's largest concentration of Harvard MBAs moving to California? No. No. The opposite of that. California throwing them back out the back of the East Coast of the MIT where they belong. It really was. I interviewed 150 Silicon Valley founders, and the astonishing thing was the emotional heat with which they talked about MBAs as a disease, and about how many of their ventures had been almost killed by one of those evil East Coast snobby bastards coming over to the West Coast to do financial things, create a bunch of vice president fiefdoms, buy a $100,000 desk for each VP so he would look superior to everybody else, stop talking to everybody so the vice presidents could fight all the time. And finally, they told, we made a mistake, and they got to the board, and the board and them got together, and they threw the bastard back out and said, you go back to Wall Street and make, get a cocaine addiction for your kid on Wall Street. But that's not what we're doing here in California. Every single one of the 150 founders, without me prompting, I had a special 44-page set of questions. I just went through them one by one. Same damn question for everybody. Not a single question on that. Every single one of them, spontaneously, with emotional heat, passionately talked about that disease that they had avoided or had a near miss with, or were smart enough to never even touch. So it wasn't venture businesses. It wasn't business ventures. What was it? Saturn, phase 2 of Silicon Valley was Saturn V rocket program. Tens of billions of dollars of guaranteed spending for 10 years or more. And Werner von Braun specified 22,000 new technologies, performance specs that no existing technology could do, that he needed, and invited those guys to get the hardware and the software and the combinations to do those 22,000 performances that no existing technologies could do. It was venture technologies that built Silicon Valley, half of them done in big firms. The other half done in little tiny firms of 7 to 17 to 50 people. Venture technologies and venture technology businesses built Silicon Valley. And if you want to speak exactly, it's venture technology businesses, not even venture technology venture businesses. Because the word venture business is an evil lie by bad-minded, dishonest business faculty who are telling a lie about what made America great and who are therefore ruining the future of America by spewing a whole bunch of beta masters and silly macroeconomic guys out into a world, people who feel they're superior to technology, who look down on technical people, and who see themselves as God-given by their university the right to push around and fire those people and hire those people because MBAs are smarter than engineers and better and more essential to a business than the engineers are. People with that kind of arrogance, that kind of stupidity, will never hire good technical people. They'll drive them out. So you want to kill a venture technology, you bring in one of those evil bastards from a business school.